Hello and welcome to the second episode of my visit to Wisefab. This time we'll reveal some secret details about their components and learn why those products work so well and also why they're so popular. Can we show a little bit of that?
Yeah, sure. So this is like one of the test benches what we have. So what we have here, first of all, it's E92 knuckle. It's actually an upcoming product what we will release soon. So it's like we call it narrow kit for E92. So basically it's more entry-level angle kit for E92 that is going to work with original knuckle with a knuckle add-on. So these parts are bolted together. It will have slightly shorter control arm, so the wheel will fit more or less under the original fender. So, and it still has 55 degrees of angle. But when it comes to testing, then what you can see here is the original knuckle bolted to the bench, and then there's a connection between the hydraulic cylinder and the tire pickup point. So what I will do now is I will put this machine on work, and it will start to move this cylinder up and down with 1,000 kilos.
What it is, it's fatigue test, which is putting cyclic operation on the knuckle, and it's finding the stress points and the breaking points of the assembly. So if the breaking point is somewhere on the bolts or on the new part, then the new part is not strong enough. If it is on the weak point of the knuckle, then it's questioning if we need to make the knuckle stronger or if the number of cycles is enough to sell the part how it is.
Exactly, that's what it is. I mean, right now this combination has gone through already like 65 or 70,000 cycles with 1 ton pull or push, meaning that it has been working for almost 1 week like this, and it hasn't yet broke. We have another knuckle laying down there, which is already broken. It went through 100,000 cycles with bigger force, so you can see what happens at the end of the day. So this is actually the information what we need to see what kind of part is strong, which one is weak, how much force we need to break it, in how long time. Don't be afraid, nothing like this is going to happen because we are using, let's say, 10 times more force than is needed, or
but also it is nicely showing to you that if you're running E92 and you are running it hard, just be looking in these areas, because those cracks are not every time that's happening in the same moment. It is also visible on that crack that you can see that I'm not able to put them together. So there was some movement of material. So firstly it cracks in some place and then makes the crack all over the place. So for sure, if you're checking your car, you can check this place if this is starting or not.
And no matter are you pro driver or just average Joe, as you said, you still have to make the bolt check basically every time you're going to the track to be sure that everything is on position and there are no cracks or anything like that.
What do you think about wiring the bolts?
It's something that people,
or not?
I mean, it's something that people do. I better recommend to make some white stripes over the bolt and the knuckle, for example, or something like that, and just double check those things before you go out to the track, because usually the bolt is not coming loose so quickly that you don't notice it, in the paddock. But some people do it. I mean, it's more common for engines and stuff where you have like a constant vibration, but also you can do it for the parts like this. Yeah. But let's turn it on. Let's see what it does. So now you can barely see how these things are moving. So this is a sensor that measures how much movement you have. And this cylinder is now using 1,000 kilos, which is close to 1,000 newtons. So this thing is trying to bend the knuckle and the knuckle add-on as much as possible. And that kind of test gives us pretty good understanding how long this part will survive and with what kind of forces this part will survive.
I'm not sure if it is visible on the video, but in real life you can see the slight movement And all the movement which is now happening there is like from the setup which you would say that's safe, that's should not move anywhere.
Yeah, and it's still
And
moving.
this movement is still there. So this is something when you're building the suspension parts, the structural parts of the car, you need to think about that they will move. So sometimes clearance of 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters from the knuckle or the bolts is not enough. Like if you're too close to the wheel or something, then you can see the wheels like broken or cut it in half and things like that because people were not thinking about that movement.
Yeah, it's like even if you turn your wheels from full lock to full lock and you can visually see that the distance between the, let's say, inner lip of the wheel and the control arm is, let's say, 5 millimeters, then usually it's not enough, just because the wheel will bend, the control arm will slightly bend, and everything like this. So after the training day, you will see that the wheel has been, let's say, like in milling machine or something, because the edge is kind of like scratched, because everything is slightly bending. Yeah. But yeah, that kind of test is something that we do pretty often to see how the parts will survive. We will use the same bench for smashing the corners of the car to see how the knuckles or the control arms will survive. So testing
it's
is a key.
Actually type of guillotine that you can do like drop tests from pretty high place. I would say it's like 4 meters?
Yeah, 4.
4 meters high. So that can be a lot of force on the bottom.
Exactly.
Great. Let's continue with the tour.
While we were exploring the Wisefab production area and Tarmo was showing us more and more interesting things, we also met the founder of this legendary company.
Hello. How are you? Great to be here. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Risto. I'm founder of Wisefab. I do a lot of engineering stuff here as well.
So you're keeping the fun part for you and dealing with the sales for the other guys, that you can be focusing on machines, development, testing and that stuff?
Yeah, a lot about engineering, but also I do a lot of boring stuff as well.
Okay, but we are here more for the funny part or fun part, and that's the testing. So when I spoke with Tarmo about your products, we were speaking a lot about testing, about the development of the ideas which are behind the products themselves, and how you are preparing those products for the market, how you are testing them, and what's the ideas behind them. Now we are standing next to one of the really nice products of Wisefab, and those are those Halfshafts. There's a lot of engineering behind that. So can you give us a little bit more hint about what engineering and what idea is behind those Halfshafts?
Yeah, we're trying to make the Halfshafts this way that they wouldn't break. They can bend, but they wouldn't break. There are cases where big loads are getting above what Halfshaft can take, but we are not making the shafts to break, but to bend. So if
more like twists.
More twists, yes. If the load exceeds what the shaft can stand, it just twists. It doesn't break, and that needs a lot of testing, material choices, geometry choices, and stuff like that. And the only way to know this is to test, to have the test.
Yeah, and we've been speaking about off camera a little bit about how it takes the energy, because normal thing, especially in drifting, is that people are having some setup, they will rise up the power is high now, they're happy, suddenly the clutch will start to slip, so they will put harder clutch, then the transmission will go, or the half shafts will go. So those are starting to be weak points of the setup, and your half shafts are actually helping to make that setup more reliable, because they are absorbing the energy, and I'm understanding it right?
Yes, correct. So if the load is getting higher than the system can take, then something needs to take this load. And actually, half shaft is a part that can easily take it. You know, gearing is kind of much smaller. It's very difficult to make energy absorption into gearing, or gearbox shafts are short, very thin. So it's difficult to build energy absorption in there. Or half shaft is a good part to
absorb that energy.
Yeah, to design it in. So we are not making the strongest half shaft in the market. We are just making a half shaft that can make everything to work together. So if something has to bend, we are happy if this is a half shaft, but it bends, it doesn't break.
So yeah, there is some sign on the half shaft now. Yeah, now you can see it. And here it's already a little bit bent. What you can tell me about that line? Because a lot of people is questioning that line and how it is actually working and what they need to do about it.
The material that we are using is actually getting slightly stronger when it deforms. So sometimes at, let's say, 2, 3 first tests or races, it twists a little bit and it would stay in there. It doesn't need to go any worse. So
so this bend which we saw is completely fine. It is something what is basically, let's say, after break-in of the half shaft. So if you see something like that, you're completely fine with it. What is the limit of the drive shaft when you are saying, okay, now you need to change it?
I think there is no just one certain angle, but we are saying that if it's twisted 90 degrees, then it doesn't have too much resource left.
Can I take that one?
Yes, you can look at
So if you will just check this one. So if you are worried about that angle which we saw there, you see this one, and this one still did not break. This is like cut it away.
No,
it's broken? Oh, okay, it's broken. But this is like 180 degrees.
Yeah, we have seen like 270 degrees as well, but I mean, in practical life, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't trust it.
It is great to see, and this is not the only testing machine which you are having here. There is also a lot of other machines which you are testing your products. So basically, all products which are going to the customers are tested, and you know where are the weak points of those, and they were developed.
All the parts before productions are tested to be sure that they are working as they should.
Yeah. So what I meant is that every design is tested, not every part.
Yes, correct.
That would not be possible to test every part, and also you cannot test the part till destruction and then send it to customer. So every design was tested. There was parts which were tested till destruction to find out where is the weak point, then adjusted the design, and then it can be again distributed as a new part as they know that it is working.
Yes.
So let's break some stuff. So I would like to buy a half shaft for me, which is good as we saw, but how it starts, how it is assembled, how it is working for you, because I believe that you are not selling only half shafts for BMWs, for Nissans, S13, S14. All of them are having different lengths, different hub setups, different differential setups. Then you are putting also the spool diffs from Winters, for example, Bulldog, whatsoever. There's like a lot of brands of different differentials, different hubs, different setups, different lengths. Everything can be adjusted. So how you're dealing with this?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. So basically our half shafts or axles, as Americans are saying, are built as a Lego, meaning that we have one kind of inner joint, the CV joint. All the parts inside are made in-house actually here, so we're reassembling it later. We have our own unique outer joint, which is also designed by us, and we are putting it together here. So these are the two parts which are, let's say, always the same. How we can do it like this? Because this,
And this you're designing it and manufacturing it by yourself?
it's half manufactured by us. The inner parts are manufactured by us. The outer part is coming from Germany.
Oh,
That's how it is. So yeah, making it totally from the zero with all those parts as well. It kind of doesn't make sense. So we are ordering
If
those
you
parts
can
from.
buy those, then it is making a lot of
but
sense.
just the
to
cages
buy them.
inside, the balls, all these things have to be as precise as possible and as strong as possible.
What is the angle?
So for the outer joint, what you can see here, it's approximately 44 degrees, 45 degrees, and for the inner, it's 20. So we actually started to develop those half shafts for rally cars. So the angle for the CV joint was crucial because those cars have a lot of droop in coilovers or in shocks, meaning that we needed to come up with that kind of solution. And it works really well also in drifting, because if the car is lowered or you have drop knuckles or whatever, then the angle of the CV joint is kind of crucial to keep it in one piece. So yeah, basically the axles are built around those things. This spline actually on here, it's a BMW spline. So we are using always the BMW spline. Now your question at the beginning was how we are putting all these things together, how we're building it around. As I said, it's like a Lego. So basically we have inner joint, we have outer joint, then we will go around the corner. And you can see that we have plenty of choice for the shafts. So all the different lengths, starting from something very short, like this, up to something very long. So this one is for MK9 Supra, MK5 Supra, and also for the Corvette. And this one is one side of S chassis, for example, if you have GTR diff, as you have.
Yeah.
So we have all these things available, so we can combine the CV joints that you saw with those with those shafts, so that you can have the length that you are looking for. Mm-hmm. And then moving on to this side here, we can see a couple of half shafts which are already assembled. And now when it comes to S chassis, the question obviously is how you can put the BMW spline through the S chassis bearing and half. So for that purpose, we have actually made special hubs in-house, which are exactly as S chassis outside, but inside we have a BMW spline. So if you're buying the kit, it comes with those hubs. So you have to replace the S chassis hubs with those, so the half shaft will fit. And the same thing goes about the diff side. So let's say you have R200 diff on your Nissan, then we're supplying that kind of adapter flanges, which will bolt to our CV joint, and the other end will bolt to your diff. So that's how we can fit those things.
What I need to do is I need to tell you what car I'm running, what hub setup I'm running, or knuckle setup, what differential I'm running, and then measure the distance from the differential to the flange of the hub, how long it needs to be, and I will provide you those dimensions, and you will provide me with this kit, which I will know that it will fit. If there will be different lengths of on one or the other axle, then you will just mark it left or right.
Exactly, that's how it is. So what I need to know is what kind of wheel bearing you're using, so we know what kind of hub you need to have, what diff, as you said, and the length, basically, and that's it. If we have this data, we are able to make those things. We can make those half shafts for most of the, let's say, more popular drift cars. When it comes to some sort of random Mercedes or something like this, we might not have the solution yet, but usually it's possible to combine things so that you can still get the solution, which is, let's say, good enough for 1,500 horsepower.
You are having available two types of kits on your web pages for E36, E46s. Now you're planning it also for E92, which we will be looking on now. And what is the difference between like the semi-pro kit and the pro kit? I don't know how you're exactly calling it, but we can see the kits here. So this is the less professional version, slightly cheaper version.
Yeah.
And this is the full sand thing, like which you will put on fully properly built pro car.
So let me walk you through those products. So yeah, this is actually the upcoming product that will be available in a couple of months, hopefully in 1 month. It's so-called semi-pro kit, or let's say narrow kit, as we say at Wisefab. So basically, this is something for E92. This is the knuckle add-on that will be bolted to the original knuckle. And this is...
So this is the part, sorry.
Yep.
This is the part where it will be attached to the knuckle.
Exactly.
And this is the part where I will have the lower control arm. So this goes there. This is going there.
Yeah.
And that?
That's a lock stopper. So basically that's something that will just touch the control arm once you are on a full lock, so it doesn't bind your steering rack or tie rod or anything like that. So basically this is so-called the narrow kit or the semi-pro kit. It has much less parts in it, so we have only control arm, we have only knuckle add-on, and we have the tie rod. So if you look at the pro kit for a moment, then you can see that we also have the full knuckle. On a semi-pro we have only the knuckle add-on, so it works in combination with OEM knuckle. So the pro kit has the knuckle. It also has a tie rod, very similar to the other one. It has the longer control arm, which makes your car wider, which is way more adjustable than the entry-level control arm, and it also has the camber plate. So this camber plate and the control arm, those are working nicely together, so you have, let's say, 4 up to 5 degrees of camber on your car. It is obviously a drop knuckle, so that's basically the pro version that has been available for many years. Yeah, we lately made some upgrades, obviously. But this one has less parts, but it has, let's say, 55 degrees of steering angle.
So let's say I have, I'm crazy, I have M3 E92 and I would like to drift. But I don't want to change my car too much. I will just bring it to some driving around on the track, but I would like to have still like nice look of the car. So I would like to run the white tires in the front. So I'm not able to make the big steering angle on that car. So if I will put this, I will need to adjust it with that my steering lock is not that too big. So I will find out where is my lock stop on that, and then I can run this kit.
Yeah, of course. The thing is with the lock stop that actually by adjusting it, you will make the clearance between the control arm and the inner part of the wheel. So if you have like a very big wheels in the front, or the ET is high or whatever, then you can adjust it with this. But yeah, other than that, exactly as you said, if you have the, let's say, more or less original looking car, you don't want to have like a huge fenders on it or anything like that, then this kit basically puts the original wheel under the original fender. Yeah, you have more camber, yeah, you have more angle when turning the wheels, but in general it doesn't look too ugly. It basically looks on E92 the same way as E36 on E46 lower control arms, which is like a very common thing for entry-level cars to have. So yeah, this kit costs half of the price of the Pro kit. It has less parts, but it has, let's say, 85 to 90% of the features what you have on a Pro. So it's a pretty decent combination.
There's like a lot of stuff going on here. So a lot of adjustment there.
Yeah, another thing that I didn't mention is that the Pro kit obviously has Ackerman adjustment, which the, let's say, semi-Pro kit doesn't have. But we made a lot of tests on it. It has more positive Ackerman than zero Ackerman on this one. Yeah, because it makes it easier to drive. Like that. Yeah, it makes it easier to drive.
If I can recommend anyone in semi-pro class, set up the Ackerman slightly positive and do not ever touch it. It will be fine.
And that works really fine with this one.
If you are like in pro level and you are already knowing what to do, then you know what to do, and I don't need to tell you. But if you're in the beginning and you just don't know much about Ackerman, just slightly positive, it will be fine. Don't try to play with it too much because it will unsettle your feeling of the steering wheel and where the car is actually going.
I do agree. And yeah, when talking about this kit, it's something that is already used by local guys on their winter cars. So as we are driving here in Northern Europe, a lot on ice and gravel.
We are speaking about winter usage. How this thing is holding against the salt?
It's holding against the salt okay. I mean, it doesn't look as good as right now after the winter, but it doesn't look ugly as well because these things are all galvanized.
Okay.
The bearings are halfly stainless steel, So these things will hold pretty nicely. But yeah, it's not going to be rusty, but it will have some marks on it. But in general, we have been using these things during the winter for more than 10 years, and they will last pretty well.
Is it possible to buy there? You can see on the market that you can buy those like rubber covers on those bushings.
We don't offer those, but yeah, you can buy a rubber cover for this one. I haven't seen actually anything that you can use for that kind of area. Maybe there is something, but yeah, I mean, aftermarket stuff you can find, but yeah, we don't offer it.
Just maybe if you would like to have something like that, let us know in the comments, and maybe we can push Wisefab that in the future, if there will be enough demand, they would think about.
Why not? I mean, everything is possible. But yeah, this is a simple kit. This is a pro kit. As I said, the price difference is basically 50%. Less parts. The fun fact about this thing is that you can even use it with the original shocks, if you like, during the winter. If you don't want to have, I mean, obviously we recommend coilovers, especially when being on a tarmac. But if you use it, let's say, during the winter in the forest or whatever, just chasing your body sideways, then you can still have.
Yeah, maybe sometimes it's better to people just to tell them that okay, maybe sometimes it's better to use some like good quality, almost stock suspension setup on your car than like super cheap coilovers. So if you don't have the budget and you will just buy, I don't know, like Bilstein B12 or something like the base level.
Yeah, I mean even B8 does the job kind of.
Or B8. Then you are able to run that kit. You don't need to buy the top mounts, all of that, and it will be fine. It's way better than like €200 coilover, which will be too hard and undrivable on damaged winter roads.
I do agree with you. So yeah, it's designed so that you can still keep the original sway bar. You can, if you want, you can keep the original shocks even. And it doesn't make your car much wider. And the same thing actually goes about the E46 and 36, meaning that we have like the Pro kit and the semi-pro kit.
But on the semi-pro kit for E46, you will also get the knuckle, or also the...
No, I mean, when it comes to 36 and 46, then all these kits are using the knuckle add-on. There is no full knuckle for those. But the arm is shorter, it doesn't also have the camber plate, it has slightly less angle. But as I said, it has most of the features that you need.
Yeah. And this is actually a cool detail. Like you're having like dots which will tell you how much angle you're getting with that bump stop. How did you set it up? So you can change it very easily. If you will see that it is like hitting your in fenders or something, that you will just like adjust one bolt, good to go. It will hit it here, I believe. Okay, that's it. I believe that we saw a lot of stuff. Like if we would make it even longer, we would bore people a little bit too much. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming. And
it was a pleasure.
I hope it was interesting at least.
Yeah, for me definitely. I just wanted to see how it is made, what are the ways how you are making your R&D, how you're testing. And now I definitely see that it is not just putting some parts together, and I'm eager to see what's next is coming in, and maybe we can make some voice of the market and push them to make something interesting in future.
Yeah, for sure. We're always open-minded. So if you have any ideas, just let us know.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.